Mule deer are one of the most sought after western big game. One of the best times to hunt trophy mule deer is during the rut. Now come along with us while we're hunting mule deer during the rut and we come up on a rare situation. Welcome to the Eastmans Hunting Journal, a magazine show devoted to western big game hunting. You know, mule deer are one of the most sought after western big game. People sometimes will hunt a lifetime to try to take a trophy mule deer. One of the best times to hunt trophy mule deer is during the rut. Now come along with us while we're hunting mule deer during the rut and we come up on a rare situation. Two mule deer bucks are locked up and watch the Eastman crew rescue him.
Well, we're out here with Roger Hart, Rod's brother. What were you saying about this deer? You
was over there on the side by our pickups there, and I seen these deer over here, and I went to look at them and see how good they were, and I was walking back along the creek here, and I looked down in the creek, and there was them two bucks, and I thought there was a big mule deer, and I was getting ready to shoot one, and then I seen that they was locked horn.
You thought, oh wow, I got myself a big buck.
I thought I had a big non-typical, and then the other buck was in there too. So.
Roger's got one of these late season limited quota draws in a pretty good area here, and he's out here hunting. And this is an opportunity that you won't see very often. Have you ever seen anything like this, Rod?
No, never. I've of course hunted all my life, and I've never come across this.
Well, we'll try to get some close-ups here, and then we'll try to saw the antlers off. The one buck looks like he's dead, and the other one is still alive. So we'll go down there and do that.
You know, this is going into the second week of November in Wyoming, and we have this late season rut hunt. These bucks are just now coming into the rut, and they've come down out of that high country, the wilderness, looking for does along this creek drainage here. The bigger buck is actually the one that's got his neck broken here. I hypothesize that the two bucks, when they came together, the bigger buck lifted the younger buck over his head and broke his neck. Now, I think it happened probably at daylight, let's say 7 o'clock in the morning. It's 10 o'clock right now. If this would happen, let's say, last night, I know for a fact that coyotes would be eating on the dead one right now, and probably the live one would have some scars and bleeding from the coyotes. There's that dumb Mike Eastman taking photos. Get out of there, Mike. Roger went back to the ranch about 20 miles away to get a rope and a saw. We're going to attempt to saw off the antlers on this one buck and try to get him so he can get away. To leave him like this and walk away, the buck that's alive right here, his death is going to be a certain horrible death by being actually eaten alive by predators. So we're going to try to help this buck. In the meantime, Rod Hart, my editor, and I give us a chance here to take some photos of this rare occasion, being able to come up on these two bucks that are locked up. And you can tell right here that whatever circumstances contributed to these two bucks getting locked up like this, one thing I got to say is must have been quite a feat for the two of them to run together with so much force that it actually split one set of antlers open far enough to slide the other set in, and then it shut like a trap door. Now they can't pull them apart, as you can see right here. You know what, one or several times here, this buck, when I was getting close to filming here, he would try to charge me and hook me, but fortunately for me, he was having to drag that other buck around, and he just was too slow. But he isn't defenseless. You'll see here in a minute or two in this sequence what he can do with those back feet, which is just phenomenal. But here in Wyoming, where we're hunting, we're 40 miles from the nearest town out here filming and hunting trophy mule deer. And when Roger came up on this buck, all he could see was these antlers, and he thought he had one heck of a big non-typical until he took another look at him and through his binoculars and realized that this buck was actually two bucks and they couldn't get away. Here they are, he's just going crazy right here, trying to get loose. Of course, the fear of us around, he's really got a lot of fear in his eyes, and he knows he's in real trouble right here. But as soon as we can, Roger gets back with the lariat. Rod Hart, my editor, he's third generation of rancher there in Thermopolis, and has rodeoed all his life. His roped and team tied, and he's real proficient with a lariat, but like he admitted to me, he's never killed a mule deer before. So we're going to try to help this old buck out here and at least get him out of his predicament. He's not quite the quality of deer we're looking for our video. I think he's about a 160 type mule deer, and the buck that's hanging on to him here is about a 150. But until we can get that rope around his legs and try to get him down to where we can saw his antlers off, all we can do is just sit here and watch. Now here comes Roger with the rope. Oh, watch out. Jeez, you see that? You see him strike like that? Oh yeah, Mike, you can get popped right in the head, 40 miles from the hospital, you get a long, hard drive back to the hospital if you get whacked in the head with those hoofs. That buck weighs 220 pounds. Watch out! Poof. Oh, he intentionally to strike me. He tried to get me in the head. Can you believe that they can strike that quick and fast? I'd never believed it unless I saw it. Now Rod's having a hard time getting that lariat around his back legs here and healing him. Our plan is to grab his back legs just like you would do a steer and pull him down and be able to get on him so that we can saw his antlers off and get that other buck away from him. Watch out, Mike, you're going to get it again. Oh, I learned my lesson. I'm backing up really quick here. I don't want anything to do with those back legs of that mule deer buck. Oop, there he goes again.
Got him.
Does Rod have him? Oh, he's got him. Well, he's kind of got him. He's got him good enough, I think. Let me get over there and help you, Rod. Now you can see what I did. I figured it out. I'm the last one in line there. In case something happens, I'm the first one to get out. Now Roger's got the saw here. Now this is going to be kind of dangerous. We don't know if that buck's going to jump up or what when he saws those antlers off. But Roger, just go ahead and saw him off right there. He goes, you want me to do what now? Saw what off? Those antlers, Roger. Saw them off right there. Okay. But folks, I want to let you know that sawing that antler off is just like you taking and cutting one of your fingernails off. It isn't going to hurt that buck one bit. But people ask me, how come we didn't saw the dead deer's antlers off? That's because we didn't want Roger to lean over all that live buck's antlers in case that buck would jump up. We don't know once we saw that off if he's going to jump up. So we saw it off here. I thought Roger could then just lift that main beam of the other buck off. But look at that. It's hooked right there and will not come up over. So Roger has to saw the other main beam off right here. And watch out, Roger, don't get your hands all caught up in there. I don't know, this buck could just jump up and that'll be it. I think he's dead. Come on, get up. He's like one of those horses that gets down and just doesn't want to get up again. Of course, I don't know, he could be really stressed out. He could be dying right now. You know, this is quite traumatic for an animal, particularly a wild animal, to have this happen to him and then have humans around doing this to him. But maybe we can... Oh, that's it, Mike. You just get in right with him. That's real smart. Uh-oh. He says, Eastman, I got one antler left, and I'm going to shove it right up where the sun doesn't shine on you. Yikes. I'm climbing that bank right now like you can't believe. Look at him, look at me. Who wants a piece of me, he says. Oh, there he goes. Yo, he says. You know, this is in a hunted area. Can you imagine if somebody would harvest that buck? Jim, you just shot a buck with a sawed-off antler. Well, you know, he's looking around going, hey, man, I've had a bad antler day. We saw him 2 weeks later after the season closed. He was doing okay. I tell you one thing though, he wasn't chasing does. He pretty much had that gone out of him. When we get him out there, we have to take a real good picture of him, okay?
That's nice off behind.
On the dead buck's antlers, you can see where the live buck had rubbed his antlers against the dead one's antlers, trying to, in a futile attempt to get away.
I'm glad I walked out there.
Yeah,
poor buck.
he'd have been dead.
Yeah.
He's lucky you come along and
Yeah.
you're able. Hey, where he comes weapon off with those hoofs coming up there like
Yeah.
that, if it ever hits you,
Yeah.
it'd have caved your skull in. I didn't realize that they would fight with their back feet.
I didn't either.
You know, I thought they'd jump, but he was striking.
Yeah, he was trying to get us. That's all. Well, that's the only resource he had.
And then he'd false charge me out there, you know.
I'm gonna cut them
What
off.
would have helped if they hadn't been in the water?
You know, I've seen several pieces of footage on locked up whitetail, but this is the first time I've ever seen footage of locked up mule deer. It's very rare. Now come along with me as I go to Montana to hunt during the rut for a big 180 plus trophy mule deer right after this. You know, if you wanted to hunt mule deer in Montana, you can hunt them during the rut. Now Montana for non-residents on a draw, if you go with an outfitter, your chances are better because they have their own separate draw. Come along with me as we go with Rick Casper of Rawhide Creek Outfitters as we go to Montana during the rut to hunt a big 180 mule deer. We're here in Montana during the rut with Rick Casper of Rawhide Outfitters. You know, Rick takes hunters on his ranch in Wyoming, plus he's leased up several ranches here in the Little Powder River country of Montana. You know, the rut is just now coming on, and we're seeing quite a few mule deer bucks, anywhere from 5 to a dozen bucks a day, and they're all starting to gather up these does. So it's really going to be an interesting hunt. For several days here, we've just watched one bunch of bucks after the other as they rut, and boy, they're really rutting. But occasionally you'll find a buck that just isn't ready to rut yet, and he can be still a shy old mule deer. And so you got to be real careful when you're trophy hunting, because you come up on a buck like this and he'll look at you and off he goes. Rick Casper, several days before I showed up for my videoing and hunting, videoed this big old solid mule deer that came in and off the Badlands to pick up some does here on the river bottom. You know what these bucks typically will do? Will come in here, pick several does up that are in estrus, and move back up into that Badlands behind this river bottom where there's literally hundreds of square miles of gullies and creek drainages and pockets. And you know, he never showed back up again. Rick looked for him for the next 2 days on the river bottom, and he was never to be seen again. So when I showed up, we headed for that Badland country. You can see it here. Look at this, literally hundreds of square miles of gullies, canyons, and there was plenty of mule deer in this country. But what we're doing is trying to find that one pocket that big mule deer would be with these does. We come up on a buck here. This is a nice trophy mule deer buck. He's got a couple does, and he's stuck right in this little pocket here. He's going to hide out here, going to breed those does. He's got a nice place here where he won't be found. Another time we come over a ridge after glassing and look down into another pocket, and guess what? We see this good 170 mule deer. You know, he's got 20 inches of G2s. Look at that. A real typical mule deer. You know, I just about took that buck, but after seeing the video of that good 180 plus mule deer, that's the only buck I really want to take. What do you guys see up there?
Hey, you guys got to see this buck up there.
Yeah, there's a big one. Go ahead and take a look at him.
Oh, really?
Here, Mike.
Oh, yeah. That's one we're looking for, Rick.
Yeah, I think it is, Mike. We better go up and get a bit closer look, huh?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
We went up and set on that buck and waited, and he come right off that ridge and went right down in that canyon there to breed some does, and we snuck and stalked right up to where he had been laying right there and peeked over the top, and I could look over, and there he is right there, right in the bottom. So I eased along here and low crawled right to a little spot where I can put my backpack up there on those rocks for a dead rest. They don't even know we're there. We got the wind with us, the whole thing. He's right below me about 300 yards in that canyon rutting. We are just lucky to be able to find him.
There he is. You see him? Got him.
Got him. We've been trying to hunt that buck for 3 days. He is a good 180 or better. Just a big trophy mule deer. Snuck right up on him. He's rutting, didn't know we were there. Took a dead rest. He's about 250, 300 yards away. Just a good trophy mule deer. Wow, what a nice buck. Great. Big trophy mule deer. Rick, this is the exact spot where those two clients of yours spotted this buck this morning. He'd been rutting all night and then was up here, and we just waited him out until he moved off this ridge down into this coulee and made a great stalk on him.
Yep. When we spoke to the hunters, they had finished their hunt yesterday, and they had spotted this buck after we had been glassing a few other bucks, and we came up on this ridge, and sure enough, Mike spotted him, and this is the end result. Great hunt, Mike.
Thanks, Rick, for helping me get this solid trophy high 180 mule deer. I hope you enjoyed going to Montana with us on this trophy mule deer hunt during the rut. Remember, fair chase is the only way to harvest big game.